Salads for me are like the most exciting way of doing that, because you can have hot things, cold things, you can have slightly more indulgent bits. You know, we've got our maple walnuts in our goat salad.
Yes.
We've got all of these little elements that basically make a bowl of something that is so colourful and just filled with goodness, but doesn't feel boring or negative in any way.
And you also do have Clem on the front.
I know, yeah. Very conscious decision. Yeah.
It's a beautiful book.
It is.
And we're happy to have you here as well.
Thank you, Clem, for joining us on Served with Purpose.
Pleasure.
Well, you see, we've got a lot of your salads here. We basically didn't know what to order, so kind of ordered everything.
You've got all the highlights, so
I know. I mean, I guess a good place to start is just hearing a little bit about you and your journey, like before Salad Project was Salad Project. How did you get to that point?
For sure.
What are you doing?
So my journey's been pretty wiggly, to be honest, which I hope it continues to be, frankly. So I actually, I entered the world of work having literally no idea what I should do. I graduated from university where everyone knew exactly what industry they were going into, and it was basically law, finance.
Oh gosh,
you know, you're en route to being a doctor, and then it was, oh, you're creative, marketing, perfect. So I was like, right, I need to go into marketing, and I ended up going into digital marketing, which is the opposite of creative. And I worked heading up a new business team for an agency on the Old Street Roundabout, and I was flying back and forth from America. I was helping set up their US office. But on the side of it, because I'm a bit of a wiggly busy bee, I trained as a nutritionist. So I did a year-long diploma part-time, and then I also trained as a personal trainer, because I was talking to people about nutrition and food, and always the question that came was, but what do I do in the gym? And then basically got to a point where I was pretty burnt out from work, and kind of the stars aligned, which allowed me to decide to quit my job and go to culinary school. So I put all of my savings into going to Belu, which was a place I'd never heard of, but a friend's mum had said one day, Clem, you're so Ballymaloe. And I was like, Tanya, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
It being like, now you've got to take it. I thought it was like an adjective, and then I found it and I was like, oh my God, this is heaven. It's this cookery school on an 100-acre organic farm in Ireland, and you go and milk the cows and you pick the herbs every morning, you go and gather the vegetables. And so I literally went in the next day and I handed in my notice, and my manager, who's an absolute goddess, was like, well, you got to start in September. So my notice period was cut short and I headed off to Ireland. And I started training as a chef. So I was there for 3 months, and
That's
then
surreal.
It
must have felt really like the big turning point for you.
Totally. It all happened in a really short space of time. But I guess it had been building in the sense that I've always been passionate about food, and that passion came from actually kind of weirdly quite a negative place. When I was younger, I struggled a fair amount with an eating disorder, and my drive to learn a bit more about nutrition was so that I could understand the good in food as opposed to the bad, which is how I had kind of had it labelled to me, I guess. When you're like a teenage girl, you're quite vulnerable to that. So being able to then head off and invest in myself and my journey in food in a really positive way was super surreal and really exciting.
But you didn't just do it, like you really did it. So I mean, this is here. So you've got the nutrition piece, all of that knowledge. You've got the health, the wellness, the fitness. Obviously, that's mind and body as well, isn't it? And then you're a trained chef. I mean, is there anything you don't do?
There's lots I don't do, but the fun bit that I do as well as my food, which is why I'm super excited to be having some cocktails with you, is kind of while the Salad Project was actually on hold because of the pandemic, I helped launch a wine business, and so I am super passionate about wine and drinks in general. So this is such a treat. All things aperitivo and delicious drinks that you've got. So that's kind of, I guess, the final part of my crazy journey is also building out a big passion for wine, and I have a women's wine club that I run to help teach women and empower them with knowledge of wine, because I just think we're underserved in that sense, and we spend so much money on wine, so we should know what we're spending it on.
And also, I think to that point, like being able to go into a restaurant and know what to order, how to order, the grape, if that price is a good, all of this as well, which I think naturally okay, talking about dating.
Yeah.
Naturally, the man has taken, I'm going to talk like traditional, like when I'm dating, they'll take the wine list and they'll be like, oh yeah,
totally.
in my head I'm like, that's not how you pronounce it. But I'm like, thanks so much, sounds so nice. But actually to have that confidence to be like, I'll have that.
Totally. Yeah.
I think is so key. And I think what you're doing to empower women, I think is, you know, what the industry needs. And to see more women, obviously, like yourself, Sabrina, as well, in those traditional, you know, spaces, I think is so key.
I think so. And I mean, the whole kind of energy of this podcast is women supporting women and celebrating women as well. And obviously all things hospitality. And I just wanted to, I love reading this book, and not just from the kind of, even after I've eaten my salads, I like to just continue to devour these gorgeous recipes. But in here, there's this line that you mention about you being on this quest to really show that salads don't represent depriving yourself or denying yourself anything. And they're a celebration of great ingredients, and there's storytelling in there, and that you kind of, your mission is to give joy through the medium of salad to everyone.
Which I think it's really like, it was such a rewarding process writing the book, because again, to my kind of journey and where I've come from and where it's led me, you're so right. What I find amazing about salads is that they are literally the epitome of abundance. And we have for so long seen, if you see the word salad, we've understood it to mean a piece of lettuce that serves gives you no calories. And that was like, absolute win, great. How can I eat like a bowl of something that kind of makes me feel full because it takes up room in my tummy, but doesn't actually add to a day of, you know, calorie counting and all of the bad kind of habits that you can get into. Now I'm just so excited by the idea of salads being something that I mean, you'll have seen Salad Project portions, they're pretty generous, and the idea is like, how can I fit as much good stuff into me in one day as possible? And what's so exciting about kind of the phase that we're in as an industry in general, particularly within wellness, is really focused on thinking of adding things in as opposed to taking things out. And salads for me are like the most exciting way of doing that, because you can have hot things, cold things, you can have slightly more indulgent bits. You know, we've got our maple walnuts in our goat salad. We've got all of these little elements that basically make a bowl of something that is so colourful and just filled with goodness, but doesn't feel boring or negative in any way,
and has that positive impact.
Exactly.
Sabrina, which salad are you making?
Well, I'm doing an homage to Clem.
I love this.
I basically went through this in cherry picks.
That's perfect.
I'm a quiet closet quinoa obsessive. Are you? So I'm really into that.
Let's get it out.
And then I also just have to say that any salad that has meatballs on it,
oh my god,
fabulous.
So good.
So in here, I'm going to do a little kind of pomegranate avocado super green situation with quinoa, and I made a lovely the lemon Belu dressing.
Yes, love it.
I contributed the lemon to it.
I know, it was a
bit.
So I'm going to whip that up for you, and then you can sign it off for me and let me know if
it's going to go into one of the stores. So how many stores do you have now?
So as of literally today, we have 11.
Oh my god,
which is wild. It's been a real journey. We started, I was looking back yesterday at how many stores we had in June 2024, and we had 5. And we're now in August 2025, and we've just opened our 11th. And so to get to 2024 June, we launched our first site in May 2021. So it was like, took us a long time to get to that number. And then we've kind of cracked the code, I guess. And now it's kind of terrifying. It's like you're on a roller coaster and it's moving faster and faster, and you just have to trust that the systems that you've built and the wheels that you've put on are going to stay there. But it's a lot of fun. It means a whole new list of challenges and adventures.
And do you think this is reflective, you think, of everybody's kind of progress now in their understanding of wellness eating, their interest in how best to look after themselves, and actually that's not just 25 hours in the gym and no calories and no food?
Totally. And I think it's I kind of weirdly, I always credit COVID for this, which is like, shout out to COVID. She was, didn't do many of us many favors. But I am going to give her some, some credit for this. I think the pandemic essentially meant that we were all trapped at home and we had lots of time on our hands around our lunch breaks, depending on what jobs you were in. Obviously, it was totally awful for so many people who couldn't go out and do jobs that required them to be in restaurants or in kitchens. But for lots of people whose life just shifted to working from home from their desk, they then suddenly have this, what used to be an hour-long lunch break, which was spent, 20 minutes of it was walking down to a prep, picking something up, sitting in a garden with a colleague and then heading back. Now you've got an hour on your hands, you're at home, you've got money to spend on nice ingredients and loads of amazing businesses who were pivoting to be able to deliver awesome ingredients. My family lived off like Natura deliveries, who had never delivered to anyone outside of restaurants until the pandemic hit. And suddenly all this incredible produce gets dropped on your door. And so I think people started investing in something they'd never put any time into, which was food. And they bought nice knives and they got nice chopping boards and they watched loads and loads of videos and they just learned how to make things. And again, how to focus on the fact that they couldn't go to the gym 5 times a week. They could maybe walk for like an hour a day, run if they were kind of really keen, but all of us probably weren't really in a great mental state to be doing loads of exercise. So then they were like, well, how can I make myself feel a bit better through food? And I think that has really luckily been something that's stuck around since COVID. And again, there aren't many things that are good that have stuck around since COVID, but that I think is certainly one. So I think the public now are so much better educated than they were even when I was doing my diploma. And that was only, I guess, maybe like 6 years ago now. I remember talking to my friends about things that I was learning and they were like, what? That's insane. There was no conscious understanding of how much sugar might be in things that you're buying off a shelf when you go into a store. And now everyone's so savvy. And it makes our life a lot harder because everyone's really savvy, but it also means we're being challenged every day in the food that we're making and how we can ensure that we're doing it right by them.
So when it comes to your creative process, I mean, I keep referring to this book because I'm obsessed with it, but it's this idea that these are salads unlike most people have thought of salad. And some of them are the ones that we can order, obviously, and have delivered to brighten our days when we're at work. And some of them just seem to be plucked from the realm of utter deliciousness. And
I love this.
Like completely bonkers. So when you're getting creative, where does that inspiration come from? Or do you draw directly from your the wellness journey, the nutrition, is it a bit of everything?
I think, to be honest, it's a bit of everything. I'd love to say whenever I'm trying to get inspiration, I do glamorous things like go abroad and go and, eat the tomato off the vine in Tuscany. But realistically, most of it if I'm feeling like I need to bring in some more creativity or I'm in a development cycle, which I'm actually kicking off now. I just go into my own kitchen because it sounds silly, but I'm sure you guys can empathise. As soon as you're working in hospitality, you tend to actually not spend that much time in your own kitchen doing things. And so when I wrote that book and I was given a pretty tight deadline to turn it around and come up with all of these exciting new recipes, COVID was a great time for people to start learning new skills because you start making one thing and you think, well, maybe if I tweak this a bit, then suddenly it's a whole new idea. And so lots of the salads in there were a case of you fill a fridge with amazing ingredients and you just look at it and suddenly you start thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll just give that a go, pairing that with that. And then maybe it's awful and you move on, but maybe there's something in it and that's the beauty again of salads, is there's so many layers to it. So rather than having to think, I just need a piece of fish and one vegetable to match it or a sauce to match it, instead you get to play with, well, actually I can chuck 10 things all together and what's going to bring color, what's going to bring texture, what flavors are going to work together, am I going to need something salty and creamy to go alongside that? And so there's so many different, and I kind of build it into the front of the book. I'm a bit of a nerd, so there's like a theory section to the book, which is like, right, what's my my method of building the perfect salad, or what's my my equation for dressing. So I'm obviously super inspired, as hopefully everyone is, by Samin Nosrat. Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat is a book that I often go to in my kitchen if I'm lacking inspo. And I started literally reading that book thinking, what's the common theme for a dressing that I can give people so that they not only read my book and make my recipes, but hopefully they take that and then they go off and they make their own. So I wanted, and this is why it's so exciting hearing you saying you're doing a rip of one of the recipes, because I get loads of messages from people being like, oh my God, I live by the book, we make from it every day and we just mix and match. And that's the whole point of it. And that's brilliant. That's where my creative process is as well. So it's kind of, I'm so glad that that's doable as someone reading the book, but it's also, to answer your question of like, where do the ideas come from, it's really a case of starting with a few bits, chucking some more in, mixing and matching, and suddenly you start going off on all of these kind of spider diagram journeys, and you end up with a whole load of different colours and flavour profiles that give variety, using lots of the same ingredients. You know, another thing that someone said about the book, which is like the best news ever, is they say what's amazing is there's lots of, if you stock your cupboards, and again there's a list in there of kind of here are your key pieces to get started with, if you have those to hand, you can unlock like 15 recipes. Whereas I think we've been so used to thinking, I need to cook this recipe, I need to go to the supermarket and I need to buy all of these ingredients. And if I don't have them, I can't make the recipe. And instead it's like, no, start with what's in your fridge and learn how to pull bits to create something that's like delicious and fresh, but is also maybe unique to you. It might be similar to one of these, but you might have thought, oh God, I actually don't have any of that in my cupboard, so let's just chuck in some pickled onions instead and see if that works. And it might not, but it probably will.
That's it. And what's going on?
Okay, so because your salad is just so fabulous, so going along the sort of summer spritz sort of thing, but really wanted to pull some like local British products as well, and also do something with Belu as well, because I think what people forget that, you know, things like water or these lengtheners are just such a key part of the cocktail. So we're going with this Garden Swift gin, which is just really, really beautiful. It's got so many sort of flavours, slightly higher in the ABV as well, so it carries that flavour. We've got this product, now I love this product. So this is Astley Brothers. They have a vermouth, but this is the aperitivo, so it's got some really nice kind of rich kind of peppery notes to it as well, and literally made in Bermondsey.
I love that. I've never seen any of those products made in the UK. It's
so good, honestly. And then I've made a peach and raspberry and white pepper syrup, which is just super easy. Literally made it in Tupperware, and just a little bit of citrus.
It's kind of easy.
No, honestly. People think cocktails are complicated. It doesn't.
But you know, when you come to my house, you'll raid the cupboards and find ingredients for this. But I know that when we come to your house, you'll find ingredients like this.
Just alcohol.
Magical syrup.
I'm a terrible cook, but I can cook with drinks. And then we're going to top up with the Belu tonic, the garden one as well, which is just beautiful.
Oh, wow.
And then we are also going to do an alcohol-free version as well with Smiling Wolf, which is essentially the equivalent of a sort of dry gin, but lots of flavour.
Oh, wow.
It carries everything really, really well. But I think, you know, same with food as well, same with what you were saying, doesn't need to be complicated. It should be accessible. People should look at it and be like, I love that flavour, but I think it always needs a point of interest, and how you bring flavours together. I just think is very, very, very similar, but it's just a joy to be able to have a drink, alcoholic or alcohol-free, with friends. So
the key is like giving people guidelines.
I think so.
Because guidelines are there to kind of be ignored as well, which is fun. But guidelines help people actually learn. A huge part of when I was at Ballymaloe, the kind of matriarch behind Ballymaloe is this amazing woman called Dorina Allen. Thank you so much. And her passion is educating people about how to cook. So it's can we get into schools and actually teach people really simple things, but like how to make an omelette, so that you don't have a whole generation of kids growing up not knowing how to crack an egg. And I think it's, you know, another big reason why it was such a privilege to write the book is to think that people can learn from hopefully this in the way that, you know, around cocktails you say it's actually so easy. People think cooking at home and making delicious salads or making amazing cocktails is this like area that's inaccessible. It's like I have to be a chef to know how to do anything, or I need to be a mixologist and have worked in a bar to ever serve anyone a nice cocktail at home. Actually, if you just have the guidelines on what it means, like the different elements that go together to building something, then you unlock like a playground of fun and freedom. And
it's building confidence, isn't it?
Exactly that. You're so right. It's confidence.
Because there's only one cocktail that I make, and I'll make a Negroni. and that's quite,
love it,
arguably quite simple to make. So low effort, high reward. But I do marvel at this because it's outside the realm of my comfort zone. So it's been amazing to learn some of that from Anna, and to see how these things are put together, because it's flavor, it's provenance, it's storytelling, and all of those things that we look for in food and our supply chain. It's absolutely there with beverage as well. Totally. So it's always super exciting to to drink what you've made. I'm so looking forward to this.
And I think that's the thing as well. Like, I've worked in bars for many years, and I think the greatest joy is to be able to share those moments. Like, the drink is, I always say, like, the drink is that bridge either between a moment or somebody else as well. And it's the same with your food as well. So I'm going to shake this one.
You mentioned Sabrina, that Belu.
Sorry,
I love it. The soundtrack to my soul. So are there any other people that you've been inspired by in this journey that you've had, and would you like to tell us a little bit about them?
I mean, I guess the whole team at Belu were such a huge inspiration, particularly because when I arrived there, it was my complete dream to go there. I knew so little. I mean, I thought I knew a lot. I was kind of the person in my friendship group who could cook, and I was obsessed with, hosting and always having dinner parties and having people around. But when I arrived at Belu on my first day, it really hit home how my family has never been in hospitality. And I arrived and you're there with 60 other people, so many of it, lots of whom were in my shoes as well, but lots of whom had come from families who have restaurant businesses or hotel businesses that they are kind of taking on, and therefore they need to learn how to manage the kitchen and the food side of things. And so it really made me realize how little exposure I'd had to any area of hospitality.
Sure.
So all of those teachers were definitely crucial to shaping, again, coming back to the word confidence, my confidence in actually knowing that this was a world that I could even step into, because you live in this kind of microcosm, and you're protected by the walls of the farm. And then it's like, cool, you've all done now. So off you go into the world.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh my God, but I can't actually step into a kitchen. Like, that would be
Was it
bonkers.
really nerve-wracking for you?
Terrifying.
Okay.
Oh my God. And I was doing it in the context of COVID as well. So it was, I'm like coming in loads of energy, all guns blazing, into an industry that is shutting down and is going through like a deep phase of sadness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that looks amazing. Thank you so much.
I'm going to make your alcohol-free one now.
But no, I think other than those kind of key people who fundamentally were my biggest links, I guess, to food for a long time, because of COVID, I didn't really get the chance to go into restaurants and meet loads of people in the industry. And so I went straight into the salad project. And it's almost kind of like I woke up a year ago. And by wake up, I mean, we could get our head above the water of, oh my God, how do you build a business do all of this without knowing anything? And we were so in the depths of it. I ran the kitchen, James and Flo ran the front of house. We were doing everything, building the supply chain, building marketing, literally everything, designing the next stores, everything you could possibly think about, we were doing. And so the idea of having time to go and meet anyone in hospitality was like, dream on, sister, there's no time. So finally, and this is why this is just such a pleasure to be with you guys, having the time to meet other people and other women in the industry is like a new thing for me. It's so exciting because I'm like, oh my God, talk to me. This
I feel like this needs to be a regular meet, especially if Anna's on the drinks.
I know, exactly. This is a real treat.
But I mean, it's really interesting to hear you talk about hospitality, because I think people outside might look at the salad project and just observe a business and a brand that they're ordering and delivering into the office or whatever that might be. And actually, you're talking about marketing, branding, service, and hospitality, and that's really interesting, and things that people might be taking for granted, actually, not thinking of. So the experience, guest experience, and the journey, and obviously the three of you come from extremely well-regarded hospitality kind of service training and learning. So I think it's really important for everybody to know that part of the curated experience, isn't it?
So that's so interesting that you say that, because for us it's been so central to how we've built the Salad Project. The guys, they met at Hospitality University. I obviously came from Belu, and a lot of the inspiration behind the Salad Project was, how do we bring 5-star service? And that isn't just product, it's service, customer experience, everything from how you feel when you walk into the store, to how you feel when you leave, to how you feel when you're talking to your friends about it, how you feel when you get an email from us. Every element goes into, obviously, your kind of regarding it as a 5-star experience. And that comes from, the guys worked in hotels, they worked for restaurants where they were right at the top of the chain in terms of kind of quality of experience. And we recognized that there were no quick service places that valued that. And so you're so right that so many of our customers probably do still take that for granted. And that's a bit of a hangover from the fact that what quick service restaurants did look like up until about 5 years ago was very transactional. It was like, we'll make your product and wrap it, and you just need to come in and get it as quickly as you can. And don't even think about, any form of customer service. If you've got a complaint, send it to this email inbox and we'll get back to you in 5 years. That's kind of the vibe of industry that we were going into. And we have hugely...
I think so. Cheers. Thank you so much.
Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much.
Hopefully it is nice.
Oh, it's absolutely divine. That's so gorgeous. Thank you so much.
Just nice, easy.
Stop it.
Oh my gosh, that's so elegant. That's beautiful.
And also just, it's so easy. It's so easy. But I love what you said, we were talking about that guest journey as well. And you touched on that, you wanted to take the best elements of being in a 5-star hotel. Into something that traditionally was very like fast paced, like you said, what didn't have that personal sort of experience. And with those ideas, like, how does that then grow from like 1 store to now 11? And then I'm sure like you've got plans. I mean, my next question is going to be like, what's next? Or where next? How does that continue to grow? Because the bigger you get, like, how do you scale and how do you grow that business whilst remaining true to yourself?
I think we've, luckily, as you grow, we obviously have then the pleasure of being able to grow our team. And so what goes from being lots of ideas in our head, but frustration around the fact that we're so busy marinating chicken that we can't actually put these things into action. As we've grown, and that's taken just a lot of hard graft, you then have the pleasure of building out a team. We have an amazing team who bring our vision of what we want our brand and experience to be to life. And we're at this really, really exciting phase. And I genuinely feel like excitement to my bones. We're in this amazingly exciting phase where we can really realize the things that 4 years ago when we were 1 store, we could have only dreamt of. If you look back at our brand back then, I mean, we're like a million miles away from what it used to look like. And it's because you had to focus on what's the priority. So we were like, well, it's the food, obviously, because that's the product. And it's the getting people in the door. And then as you kind of are able to scale your team and have your kind of leaders of the business get a little bit more breathing space to think long term, we started working out, okay, well, if that's who we want to be in terms of the 5-star experience, we need to really prioritize and invest in a branding team. So we brought in a team who could bring, we always kind of joke that we see ourselves, and this kind of links back to the question of who our like inspiration, I guess, is in this process. And it's a bit of a weird one. It sounds really, again, quite nerdy, but we've always been very inspired by Apple. And like again, conveniently, I guess, a food name. But so what's really interesting about what Steve Jobs did with Apple stores is he was basically the pioneer in bringing hospitality into retail. So he was launching a tech business that historically had been, again, incredibly transactional. There was no nice space where you felt like you were buying something. And he realized that actually we're creating a product that is going to really change your life, and it's going to be part of your everyday. So let's actually create an environment where you can have an amazing experience. And whether you buy something or not, you've come in and you've been inspired. And he actually, I didn't know this until kind of a few years ago, but he was inspired when designing the first Apple store by the Ritz. And that was because he was so inspired by the idea of personalized hospitality and customer service experiences, and how you can take that from somewhere like the Ritz, which obviously feels so many miles away from an Apple store, and put it into that retail setting. And so we live and breathe that, and we continue to think, okay, well, every new store that we're going to open, we can do 5% better than the one that we just opened. And so today we opened our Southwark store, and already you have learnings from, okay, great, this is awesome, and we love that, and it really reflects our brand. But next time we open a store, we're going to try this. And so you keep pushing forwards. And so rather than thinking of it as how do you scale and hold on to that same brand voice, it's actually how do you scale and continue to push that brand vision and voice forward. And it's basically we have like a really cheesy but kind of great brand value, which is expect better, and we want our customers to expect better.
God, I love that.
And we want all of our team members and ourselves to constantly expect better of ourselves. So it's like, I'm going to do one thing today. It's almost a negative, because we launched this book and it was like my proudest achievement to date, and as soon as you launch it, you're like, how can I do it better next time?
Yeah, oh my God, I relate to that.
So like we all have it, and it's why we've managed to get to where we've got to, and we have 11 stores now, which all of them look totally different to what our first store looked like. But our first store, Spitalfields, it's now had a big old refresh. It's now way more aligned with our new branding and our kind of customer experience of being able to order on the app and pick it up from your cubby holes and things that are quite uniquely us. That's still, and always has been, our busiest store. So our customers have gone on that journey with us, and it's because we're responding to what we think they want.
It's so exciting, isn't it? Because there is, I mean, in the second series, the conversations that we're having, there's these things that keep coming up, which is excellent. And also the fact that this isn't something that is achieved and just maintained. It is a journey and a process, and that's been something that our guests have been mentioning quite a lot, actually. Some have achieved Michelin stars, and it's about what that means to them and the team and the stories they continue to tell. But it's really insightful for us to know that the business isn't just here's a brand and it's being rolled out in a copy and paste. You're kind of nimble
always
and
evolving.
Dynamic, and there are changes happening. So much the same way the ingredients are changing, the business is developing, isn't it? Which is a live, vibrant
and
thing.
It's such a fun part of hospitality, which is businesses grow up with the people who are running them. And so lots of industries you need to create a product and you need to just multiply that as many times as possible. We're quite inspired by, and again, it sounds quite lofty, but it's kind of fun thinking about these things. When we went through a rebrand this time last year, or April last year, and the main inspiration behind it, which was what defined the logo, which is our new kind of 3 shapes icon, is the Bauhaus movement. And the whole theory of the Bauhaus movement is how can we bring individual expression and allow it to be mass produced. And that's kind of exactly what we're doing, which is we want, from our customers' perspective, we want them to come to us and have a really unique experience, because they can build their own salad from scratch, or they can take the goat and they can remove goat's cheese and add avocado and change the dressing, and they can make it totally themselves. But we can do it day in, day out. So they come to us 4 times a week. They can do it in this area of London, that area of London, and hopefully in the near future, that area of the country and that area of Europe. And so that's like a really, I think, exciting way of thinking about how young hospitality businesses can bring personality and not have it locked into, here's a product, it needs to look exactly the same, in the way that, like, with tech, I mean, everything's always evolving, but there are industries that just allow less room for creativity. And myself, James and Florian, who are the co-founders, we've literally grown up through the process of launching the Salad Project. If you'd spoken to us about 4 years ago, we're the same people at heart, and we're really great mates, and we have a lot of fun, and everything is still an absolute hoot. But we knew nothing. I mean, literally nothing when we were opening this business. And you take for granted how much you've learned. You also take for granted how much we've changed and how much our ability to have a vision and to roll it out and to think intelligently and strategically about what our customers want and what we want our brand to look like. You take it for granted. It's the fun thing about hospitality is, like, we all start at with quite novice like businesses, and everyone just gets better and better and better and better. So someone might achieve a Michelin star, and then it's like, cool, we learned loads from that experience, so let's keep moving. And it means hospitality and dining experiences, whether they're super premium or they're your quick pickup, is always evolving, whether it's with trends, people, your own review to the business. And it means it's such a dynamic industry, and it's a really fun place to be working in, because you don't need to stick to like an archaic rule book. You can, if you want, go into work tomorrow and think, do you know what? We're going to go and launch this.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, let's give it a go. Yeah. And customers are only ever excited, because all they want is new things, new places to eat, new experiences. And they get to talk about that with their friends. And then it kind of hopefully ripples through the rest of the industry as well. And you all push each other forwards.
Yeah.
Our competitors push us forward.
Yeah.
And fine dining restaurants also push us forward, and vice versa. Like there's a weird dialogue through so many different echelons of the hospitality industry, which I don't think you necessarily get in other industries.
No, that's so true.
Hospitality spans through so many different industries.
Yeah.
And that's the thing people forget when you talk about hospitality. They just say, oh, it's just someone, a chef, or somebody making a drink, or somebody serving me. And it's actually, hospitality is really at the root of everything.
Totally, yeah.
We do. And it feels like you could have like rewritten the rule book in a way.
I think I think there's a lot of that, isn't there?
Yeah.
So there's so much that is the nitty-gritty core of hospitality standards, guest journey. So I feel like you've taken all of the tradition, but then when it comes to the flavor rule book, we've torn that up.
Yeah.
And actually, it's just this incredible flavor experience centric business that is super exciting. And so I've got a little salad for you to try there. So inspired by, and perhaps you would love to tell us what served with purpose means to you.
I've been thinking about this question for a long time, because I think it's the best question that you guys ask. I came to one of your Belu's breakfasts, and they asked me to answer this. I felt like I was in my maths A-level. I can't think about it. But I think, for me, serve with purpose, and Anna, it really comes back to your point of the fact that hospitality is in everything.
Yeah.
It's in any business. It's in any interaction between people, frankly. I think serve with purpose is doing something knowing that you have the power to leave the world, the person, the context better than it was before that happened.
Yeah.
So whether that's serving, knowing that we can buy better as businesses, knowing that we can sell better, i.e. we can make better customer experiences that make that person's day better, and therefore allows them to maybe go in to their work presentation feeling better than they did the last time they did one.
Yeah.
And that comes from, experience. It also comes from giving them good fuel and good food that's actually going to make them not want to fall asleep halfway through that presentation.
Yeah.
So it's about, I think rather than for us, particularly at the Salad Project, we have a very broad mission, which is to basically serve delicious salads to as many people as we can, and hopefully therefore fuel as many awesome adventures and successes as we can. That's pretty broad. It's not, we want to be the restaurant who has the most sustainable supply chain, and that's the focus. There are amazing places that do that, and my God, do they do it well, and that's because that's their mission. Ours is a bit broader, so that's why for me serving with purpose is quite a broad term, but it comes back to our concept of expect better, and that means expect better from everything we do and leave that person who's come into the Salad Project a bit better off than they were before they came in through the doors.
Oh my God, I love that. I just love that. Anna, would you like to try some salad as well?
I will, yeah.
Would you like to see what you... so here you go. Well, you can do takeout as well, but I just love that. I love the philosophy of your business, and you just have such a wonderful energy. Oh. I mean, this isn't just normal salad, is it? This is superpowered salad, so...
Superpowered salad for superpowered people. I mean, the people who come in through our doors are mega. They're amazing. You know, everyone in London or anywhere in the UK is busy as hell, and life is hard. But when they come in and they order something that hopefully nourishes them a bit more than a sandwich used to a few years ago, that's got to have a big ripple effect in my eyes. Yeah. It's like, it's so inspiring.
Yeah, power to people.
Love that.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
So delicious.